to say. I don't know if this is the right one. But waiting for this coup. We got Jackson popping in right now.
What's going on?
Not much. Just got it running live here and
Nice.
hold on. So let people get in. What's up, Nick? Burrow or Lawrence? I'm leaning towards the Lawrence side. You watching any college ball today, or are you just hanging out?
Yeah, I was just watching the USC Colorado game and the Florida Kentucky game. Probably gonna go meet up with my girlfriend at a bar or something after we do this to watch a few more of those games.
Right on. Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, for sure. What about you?
I'm literally watching the exact same game.
Yeah,
Nothing too crazy.
got to.
Lamar or Stroud? I'm going to go with Lamar, Nash Star. Pick up Thomas Hurst or Kincaid. Today might be not today. This week might be a Kincaid week. Opinion on DJ Moore this week. I mean, we've seen receivers do well against this respective defense, but they've also been attached to much better arms. That is kind of the issue there.
Okay, we got about 15 right now on the slide, by the way.
Awesome. Just going to answer a couple more. Who do you DM or team ratings in the Discord? You DM our guy Jamario here at Jamario Moon.
Which is me, by the way.
Just Jackson. Sorry, I got those mixed up. J and J. I don't mind taking a shot on Thielen there, and I would go with Thielen over Stroud. But let people kind of get in here for a second. I know Grant was saying he has some sort of technical difficulties, but we can go ahead and get started here. So we're looking at the first team here. I go Daniel Jones over Dak, and I go Puka over Thielen. We got Patty Mahomes, McCaffrey. Your receiving core is interesting. Tank Dell, okay. You should just go ahead and put Jalen Waddle into this lineup. I don't think it's going to hurt you whatsoever. I'd put him in over Tank Dell, honestly. I understand it's a difficult defense, but I'm not too worried about him coming off the concussion. This just looks like a very strong team. You have Brees that will be coming into form future-wise. This is just a solid team. You're cycling defenses. I go Javonte over James Conner. If anything, try to build up your RB2 a little bit more. That's the only theoretical weak spot overall. This is just very, very solid. It's going to be in great form, especially the further you get into the season. Nothing but praise for this team. I feel like it's already passed, but you've been here for each one. Let's see. Foodie, what was your name in the Discord? And we can look back on it and add it to this doc if you don't think we got through it. How do you send your team? You DM our guy Jackson here on Discord at Jamario Moon. That is the person you have to DM. Let's see here. I'm just going to move this over here, make it a little bit easier. Switch, just so I don't have audio annoying me too much either. But overall, really like this team. Your sauce, let's see here. If you DM'd our guy, it should be HUDs as foodies. So we can add that one.
HUDs? Okay, I'll add HUDs. We'll make sure to do that.
Foodie was his, my bad. HUDs, yeah. Sorry, right for it. Is Gibbs for Brees a bad trade? We'll see how it goes. To the question, Swift, Pierce, Dotson, or Collins, I would go with Swift and Collins. Let's see here. Lawrence or Fields? I lean towards the Fields contingent. Let's see here. But yes, if you want your team rated, you got to DM our guy Jackson here at Jamario Moon, and he will make sure to get you right. Hopefully you guys are all having a great Saturday. I appreciate Jackson popping in here and letting me annoy him a little bit as we go through these. What's up, Mandy?
Always a pleasure.
All right, moving on to the next team here. We have Josh Allen, Bijan Robinson, Tony Pollard, an insane RB core to start you off with. You have Amari Cooper, Tyler Lockett, Hunter Henry, and Zach Moss, and a very strong bench. This is a spot I would be doing some 2-for-1s because your flex and receivers do realistically need some work. Tyler Lockett's value is going to diminish as Jackson Smith and Jigba comes back from this wrist injury. So you can't really sell Lockett high, but potentially you could package him with Moss here and upgrade your wide receiver 2, which I think would upgrade you heavily, and you can start fitting in DeAndre Hopkins into your flex spot here. You got Brian Robinson, which is great. You've got a lot of nice pieces here, but I would just consider doing some 2-for-1s to really back up your wide receiver 2 here and your flex spot. Overall, it's a very solid team. Hunter Henry will get his here and there. I go Jerry Judy over Jerome Ford this weekend, and I'm not sure if we've done the team called Mr. Trade a lot. We try to keep the names out of this just because it's a little bit we have to be wary of some of the team names. But all of these will be available for you on YouTube as a playback option. But Jackson, do you have any more thoughts on this specific team? Oh, we got Grant here with another Raiders thing in the background.
And we lost Jackson.
Yeah, I think we lost Jackson. All right. Well, Grant, do you have any thoughts on this team? I was just trying to do some 2-for-1s here in building up the flex spot or the wide receiver 2.
Yeah, I mean, if Taylor comes back, it's going to be a tough rest of the year for Moss probably. But that situation seems to be pretty in the air still. Tutu as well. It's going to be tough to dish him after this week when people know that Kupp is most likely returning in week 5. But yeah, I mean, I think this week earlier would have been the time to get rid of Tutu, but I think you could see a big Quentin Johnson game tomorrow as well, and that could be a good time to move on from him and maybe package that with a Zach Moss or so.
Yeah, I like that as well. So we got rid of the old Jackson. We have the new Jackson now. So,
Sorry about that, boys.
You're Gucci. Let's see here. Wow, Colorado's actually not looking too terrible right now. Keeping an eye on that game. That's America's team this year. It is 34-14, and I think they just got a first down. So good for them. Moving on to the next one here. We have Patty Mahomes, Puka, DK Metcalf, Zach Moss, Alvin Kamara, Hunter Henry, and Tank Dell. Let's see here. Then we have T. Higgins sitting on the bench. I don't know why you have T. Higgins sitting on the bench here. You should have that in over Tank Dell, realistically. Jerome Ford, Alexander Madison, and Jordan Love. I would put Alexander Madison over Alvin Kamara, personally. I'm assuming this is your team, Kenneth. But I just don't think that Alvin Kamara is going to really produce in his first week back, whereas Alexander Madison just has a great matchup with his offensive line fully healthy. This is a decent wide receiver core, decent running back room, but you should try to make some moves and some 2-for-1s. I would keep T. Higgins in your lineup. I would try to sell high on Zach Moss while I can. If Alexander Madison has a great game this weekend, I would consider selling out of him as well, and really trying to bolster this RB room more than anything. Your flexes is more than fine because you got Tank Dell, you have Jerome Ford, just a lot of great options. So Eli, you go to Discord, that's in the bio, and you DM our guy Jackson here at Jamario Moon, and he'll tell you exactly how to get set up there accordingly.
Saquon Barkley officially doubtful, by the way. I don't think that's too much of a surprise, but
yeah, that doesn't surprise me too much, but it makes sense. I'll let Brad know because he was texting me about that today.
I may have broken some news on our Twitter account, by the way, this morning. I heard from a source that I will not reveal that Aiden O'Connell will be starting this weekend tomorrow. So I'm putting my reputation on the line with this one. I could be the one breaking this. I could also flail miserably, and we shall see. But you heard it here first if that does indeed happen tomorrow. So
making a clip out of that if it's true.
Big up, Grant.
Big ups. That's really dope if that is the true. I'm obviously curious who the source is, but you don't reveal the sources at the end of the day. But that should be very interesting. I'm excited to see how that goes.
We'll see.
We did Obi-Wan Kenobi yesterday, Frank, actually. That one I know for a fact we did because I remember seeing that specific name. Lo, you got to join the Discord. The link to that is in the bio. I would go Moss over James Conner, and you damn our guy Jackson here at Jamario Moon on the Discord, and he'll get you optimized accordingly. Just need to say that. But that would be really cool if we do see Aiden actually get the run. I would like to see that. Overall, this is a decent team. You need to bolster your wide receiver. Your wide receiver core is fine because you do have Puka. I would T. Higgins really should be in this flex spot. You have Tank Dell is going to become relevant. I'd consider selling high on Adam Thielen while we can. Perhaps he has another good game here, and I would just do some 2-for-1s here to try to improve this running back room because I think you could take it another step forward. The person who has Austin Eckler is likely failing, like we consistently say here. Just a lot of things you could potentially do. But primarily focus on building up this running back core. I like that you have Higgins in the flex now. I really do. Let's see here. And I'm not saying that just because it's like a pass funnel thing for Higgins specifically. It's also because like the offensive line is very hindered for the Texans right now. You still have T.J. Watt, who brings a lot of great pressure, and it's going to be a lot of passes to Nico Collins, in my personal opinion. But we'll see. Also, did you guys see the thing about C.J. Stroud hosting all those dinners for the team?
Yeah, it's cool.
No, I did not see that.
Good guy, CJ.
Good
Apparently
guy,
did it
CJ.
at Ohio State too with his NIL money.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's actually kind of dope. Like,
Yeah, clap
Basically,
that.
he has a private chef at his house, and he invites all his teammates over, and they have dinner there like almost every night. They said that John Mechie and Tank Dell are there like every night with
Yeah.
him. So that's pretty cool.
which makes you think that John Mechie might be a buy low right now.
Or
considering
Tank
the
Dell
connection. Yeah.
will continue to be good.
Yeah, or Tank Dell's just going to be an absolute like nuke job for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
You DM Jamari Moon on the Discord. You DM him. Don't at him, DM him, Aiden. He'll tell you exactly how to get your team rated. And we'll get it on this sheet in this particular stream for you. You'll just be at the back end of this. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I don't know if we've done your team just yet, Jordan. I want to say this is team number 3 here. We're moving on to team number 4. If we did get into your team, we are about 11 minutes into the stream, so it's in one of those ones prior to this. We got Jordan Love, Javonte Williams, Jerome Ford, Stephon Diggs, Calvin Ridley, Mark Andrews, Tank Dell. Very solid. I love Zay Flowers. Great sitting him. I don't like the matchup for him this week, though, so I like that you're sitting him. You got Marquise Brown, who's actually doing pretty well. Roshan Johnson, very nice pickup off the waivers. You got a very strong bench here. Let's see here. We currently have, I want to say, about 15 teams to go through today. But looking at... Yeah, go ahead.
More have been adding since we're at the 20 minutes.
Okay, good. Jerome Ford, Javonte Williams, Jerome Ford... Oh, sorry, brain fart there. The running back room is the only thing that's like screaming that it needs some work, in which case you kind of do your 2-for-1 deal. Maybe Javonte Williams has like a massive game, and that really kind of puts things up. Then it might be in this stream, Jordan. If it wasn't in yesterday's stream, we have the playback on YouTube if you want to check that out as well, if we did it yesterday. But yeah, this
I think
is
even though you started most likely picking a few receivers in a row, it seems like you did a really good job of getting the guys with high potential in the later rounds and done well on waivers, because you turned a room that was probably just Javonte and maybe Roshan Johnson into Javonte, Ford, Achon, and Roshan Johnson, which I feel like, all things considered, for where you probably started is a great spot to be in. So you leave yourself in a good spot to be able to make some 2-for-1s and try to add a more elite guy. But I think that's really good work done by you.
Yeah.
For
And
sure.
we have playbacks on every single one of these that we did, Barkley. We just missed in the second stream the first hour of that one. But what's interesting to me is I'm assuming this is point per passing attempt, considering that's 41.5 fantasy points, which is just insane.
Oh.
But overall, this is a solid team. Like, yeah, I like it in general. I see that you lost Dobbins and Chubb, which does weaken your RB room, but like you can really package together like Marquise Brown with Jerome Ford or like Javonte Williams. Maybe even sell high on Zay Flowers if you really like felt like, or Devon A-Chain preferably, and really try to build up this RB room. I target the guy who has Austin Eckler right now because he's probably in a similar boat to you, and really try to take that next step forward. But overall, solid team. Okay, we're on the next team here. Anthony Richardson, Bijan Robinson, Tony Pollard. Oh my God. Brendan Ayuk, Puka Nacua, Mike Andrews, Kyron Williams. You did well on the waivers here. You have Calvin Ridley. You have Justin Fields, Jameson Williams, Tutu Atwell. Okay. So the bench needs a little bit of work here. I like that you have Calvin Ridley, but I would not be sitting him. But I'm assuming...
I would start him over Ayuk for sure.
Yeah, like Calvin Ridley's...
You got to juice Puka his last wide receiver 1 week, I think. So I think that's a must start, and then I would throw Ridley in there. The London game makes everything weird, and who knows what'll happen. But I mean, after 2 bad weeks, he's too talented to keep that up. And I think the Jaguars are going to be out and won a big result after a lackluster performance last week. So
yeah,
I'd get him in there.
I think this is like your bench is a little bit weak in theory, but like you have a lot of ways that you can really bolster your receiver core, which is really the only thing that you really need to do here. I would consider potentially even selling high on Kyron Williams. especially if he has a great game this week and packaging him with like Tutu Atwell or something. I'm not entirely sure on that, but like building up your flex, like your running back room is insane. Your tight end is fine. Your wide receivers are pretty decent because you have Calvin Ridley and Brendan Ayuk riskly holding it down. Tutu or Puka, one of those two is going to be relevant. I imagine it's probably going to be more Puka than it is Tutu going forward. But like Kyron, I could see potentially diminishing in his overall value as time progresses here. But I can also understand having that for.
Do you think the Kyron projection feels high? We've been looking at a lot of Kyron Williams and teams, and an 18 to me above Bijan and like right there with Pollard to me feels high. But
so like I was watching Hayden Wink's content the other day because I like what he does in terms of like efficiency / usage stuff. So he's the RB6 right now on running back 2 usage. So to me, I look at that, I'm like, okay, then that means there's probably positive regression. And considering how many like snaps he's out there for and how often he's involved in the passing game, he's projected to have somewhere between 4 and 5 receptions. People are bearish on that projection, so that makes me think he's probably going to have more than 5 this weekend. So if we get more than 5 receptions this weekend, and let's say at 7 yards per reception, that's an 8.5 point base floor, not including what he's doing on the rushing upside. So to me, I think I wouldn't say like this is a little high, but I do think it's a little bit fair. But it's all dependent upon how he does in the receiving game. That's really the big question mark. I wouldn't put him in that same tier with Tony Pollard and Bijan right now, though. I realistically wouldn't. I agree with that. But yeah, just build up the bench and try to do some 2-for-1s to improve the flex spot here. Sorry for the elongated kind of response there. But moving forward. Allen, Walker, Raheem Mostert, Justin Jefferson, Keenan Allen. We are in a 4-man league. Luke Musgrave, Puka, Cowboys defense. Why is Mike? I guess I understand why Michael Pittman's on the bench. Nico Collins.
It's like a really good 12-man league.
Yeah, like this is just a really good team. I would
all
say,
the guys you picked to have high upside have hit that upside, which is exactly what you want to see. I mean, Walker was probably like a 4th round pick, and now I think if you looked at it, he'd be a 2nd round pick. Mostert's been great. Keenan Allen would be probably even like a 1st or like mid 2nd round pick now, given the injuries and everything. So definitely a great team.
Yeah, very, very solid team. I believe this is Ryan's team because it says it's a 10-man. I go Zach Moss or Jerome Ford this weekend, but like, yeah, like sell high on Raheem Mostert and like package like Nico Collins or somebody with him and like really build this running back side here and like you won't lose. Like your receivers are insane. You have Puka and Michael Pittman to really weighing back and forth on. You have just a really strong bench. Like this is just a really good team. Maybe build up the tight end if anything, as well. But like I would
that's what I would probably do. I mean, you have so much depth. You have Goddard. I would be starting Goddard.
Yeah, I would be starting Goddard.
But yeah, I mean, you have so many options on the bench to go get some of those 2-for-1s that we've been talking about so much. Who's a guy that you think? I mean, he has more pieces to offer than I think most do. So who's a guy you would recommend he goes and gets?
I would buy low on Darren Waller right now while I still can because I do think he's going to be more relevant as time progresses, with easier matchups specifically. But like, yeah, like this team's just cracked. You'll probably be without Luke Musgrave as well next week, I would assume, and Zach Ertz is drop worthy to me. But very solid team. We'll move on to the next one. All right. Danny Dimes, Bijan, Kyron, Chris Olave, Stephon Diggs. Another very, very, very solid team here. This is just a really solid team. You got great depth. You got Jonathan Taylor likely coming back too, which will be a great compliment to Bijan here. I would just consider selling high on Derrick Henry. Packaging him with basically anything here. There's nothing really wrong about this team whatsoever. Like, it's just a very, very, very strong team. Like, if anything, like, build up your RB2 here, but, like, you have Jonathan Taylor coming back, which is going to be, like, massive. Like, I have nothing but the best to say for this team. What do you guys have to say?
Yeah, no, it's really good. This is a championship team for me for sure.
based on what it seems like the size of your league probably is, somewhere in the 8 range, you might want to. If Daniel Jones has another tough week, you might want to package some guys up and get a reliable quarterback, because there's probably some team that has like Tua and Lamar or something like that. The rest of your team is so good that you don't really have to worry about it. So that's the only area that I would even consider really gunning for. So I mean, there's potential there, but yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, just very solid team overall. Like, nice. Moving on to the next one here, though, we have T-Law, we have Adams, we have Olave with Bijan, Javante, Sam Laporta, we have Jerome Ford in the flex. Yeah, I wouldn't, like, you got Deontay Johnson coming back from IR. Damian Pierce, once he has a good offensive line, maybe he'll actually be able to do something. This is a very strong receiving core. Great first overall running back here. Javante theoretically should get better as time progresses. But that's also a bit questionable at the same time. I mean,
If
yeah, go ahead.
if Goddard has a big week, that's a guy you could get rid of, or Laporta. I mean, a sell high on Laporta I don't hate, with Jameson Williams coming back and more targets to go around. I mean, I would consider moving off of one of those guys. Just, you could even trade him with Jerome Ford and get a more reliable flex option. It doesn't even have to be crazy, but that's the only area I can really see that jumps off the page.
I would just build up the RB2. Like, you have Christian Watson and Deontay Johnson that can easily fill in the flex in the future, too. So, like, I just think the RB2 takes precedent. Sam Laporta is just so consistent right now. Not entirely sure if we missed yours, Brody. There is a playback for this on YouTube, though, if we did miss you by any chance.
Oh, is that? I think we do have Brody on this one.
Okay, word. Let's see. Evident. It's typically what his name is. But overall, nice team. Just build up RB2, and then you have plenty of things that you can add in. Let's see here. We got Patty Mahomes, Ramondre Stevenson, Devin Achon, Christian Watson, Gabe Davis, Jaden Reed, George Kittle, Kenneth Walker. Very wide receiver heavy league. You are without Zay Jones, so that hurts you a little bit. You need to build up your receivers, but you do have Cooper Kupp sitting on IR with Jeff Wilson. This just seems very lackluster to a degree. Like, your receiving core needs more work, obviously, but like, Dave Davis is just going to be very hit or miss. Christian Watts will be fine, and then once you have Cooper Kupp back, that should be better for you. Your running backs are decent. I would try to sell high and maybe like build up your running backs to get something a little bit more consistent there. Just receivers, I feel like I'd be just targeting teams wide receiver ones. I don't really like getting wide receiver twos on teams, but Cooper Kupp and Christian Watson are fine. I'd maybe package Gabe Davis and Jaden Reed off of a big week for Gabe Davis and try to get a higher end wide receiver one to package in here. I think Curtis Samuel's irrelevant. I think Marvin Jones to a degree is irrelevant, but some people are willing to buy into him. What do you guys recommend here? And the crowd goes wild.
Did we lose Jackson? I was going to let him take the lead on this one.
I think we may have lost Jackson again.
I think Curtis Samuel is pretty droppable at this stage. It seems like you might have missed out on a couple of the receivers that we've seen come up on waivers, like a Josh Palmer or someone like that, who would be a much better ad there instead of Curtis Samuel. I assume that this is a pretty deep league just based on kind of average draft spots and stuff like that. Kupp coming back will obviously help a ton. Aside from that, I mean, you just got to hope that Khalil Herbert can save his job for a bit and keep some of that work there. Yeah, I mean, mainly just receivers. For how deep I assume your league is, the running back room isn't bad. You just gotta hope that Achon keeps up what he's been doing, and obviously you're set at quarterback and tight end. So, yeah, I mean, you just need a little luck on your side and maybe a few better waiver pickups. But aside from that, I think you're fine.
And I imagine Debo probably misses this week, and like, my kind of thing there is the fact that like you could riskly sell high on George Kittle because when all the other pieces are kind of booming in that offense, like he does become relatively irrelevant, and you can get something nice in return for that.
Kittle, I feel like every year at the end of the season though is just kind of a dog, and fantasy playoff season he'll find a way to like a 2-touchdown game, and
he could, but I feel like that was because Debo was missing. But that's just me. He was able to trade Mostert for Pollard, Collins, and White for Ridley. Right on. That's awesome, Alkin. That sounds like a massive W. But overall, like, this is a solid team. Just encourage you to follow the recommendations that we made here. But moving on to the next one, Justin Fields, DJ Moore, so sitting on the bench. So this is starting side. We got Jared Goff, Miles Sanders. You should sit Miles Sanders this week. I would. Would you rather start Brian Robinson or Jalen Warren over Miles Sanders in theory this week? I just think that Miles Sanders is going to be very labored in terms of his overall like production. So out of those two, who would you start over him?
I guess Jalen Warren. I mean, for me, like I like what I see in Jalen Warren though. It's just I kind of see Sanders and B-Rob like being both like on like respectively on a different level kind of right now than Warren is, which makes me want to say B-Rob, but Philly is just too tough of a matchup. So I guess I would lead Jalen Warren.
I think I would go Achon over both probably.
Oh,
I mean,
I think
Sanders is out. I think he's the guy that game could be electric and high scoring, and even if he's not on the field that long, he could catch like a 40-yard screen pass or find his way in the end zone somehow. So
and like part of me also this week feels like a chain over Mostert. Like if you're going to start one of the Miami running backs this week.
Yeah, it's so hard to predict. It can honestly go either way. I would be starting. I guess you probably already started Goff, obviously, who is solid. I think Fields does have a good week this week. But, yeah, between those three, I think Brian Robinson is probably the most talented, but that matchup just doesn't bode well in my eyes. So I would lean Achon if Miles Sanders is out. Even if he's playing and it seems like he's going to be on some sort of a snap count, I would lean Achon there.
Yeah, I think I would go the same way, Grant.
So I did say to start Fields over Goff, so this person did not take that advice, unfortunately. But
what kind of game did Goff have fantasy-wise? I mean, the offense looked good in general, but
he had 12 fantasy points.
Montgomery leached everything.
Yeah. Saquon's officially doubtful, and to get your team submitted, you got to DM our guy Jackson here at Jamario Moon to get your team ranked, and he'll tell you exactly how to get it in there. Link to that is in the bio
on the Discord.
But overall, solid team, like great receivers, like DJ Moore, Tank Dell, more than fine. We'll see how DJ Moore progresses through the season. He's kind of a hold candidate. Sam Laporta, I think, was the right play over Hunter Henry. But like your running backs are theoretically the only thing that you need to work on here, in which case it might not be a bad idea to put together two of these receivers here, or a receiver here with one of these running backs to try to set it up forward. But moving on to the other next team here, we have Russell Wilson, Aaron Jones, painful for you. Jalen Warren, Justin Jefferson, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Tank Dell. Let's see here. Sorry, I just need to quiet that off. Justin Jefferson, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Tank Dell, Garrett Wilson. It was just terrible. Terry McLaurin, Michael Thomas, okay. The bench is fine here. Your running backs will get better with time. Yeah, I think this is just kind of one you have to wait out a little bit more than anything. Like, it's a strong team. If, in theory, like, build up your flex spot. Maybe try to buy into Austin Eckler while he's still at a low price. I prefer Justin Fields over Russell Wilson this weekend, but to each their own. Yeah, like, this is just a very strong team. Like, your wide receiver, too, is really more than fine. Like, if anything, like you said, maybe sell Kittle on a high note if you want. Just the running back's the only thing that really theoretically needs work in the flex spot. But overall, it's fine, especially once Jonathan Taylor comes back. What do you guys have to say?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think waiting this out is the best bet. Like, yeah, clearly they just got kind of unlucky with like the running back situation with Jonathan Taylor having the issues that he has been going through this season. Did great drafting wide receivers, but Scary Terry kind of had a little bit of a setback there. Great bench of receivers. Yeah, I think this is just like kind of sit on some people. If a good trade comes your way, or if you can maybe like fleece someone in a 2-for-1, go and do it. But you got a good team here.
Your RB1 at the start was Chubb. Spain without the S. I'm sorry, friend. Moving on to the next one we have here, we have Josh Allen, Ramondre Stevenson, Raheem Mostert, Michael Pittman, Puka, George Kittle, Devontae Adams. So your receiving core is very strong for the most part. Unfortunately, you had David Montgomery on the bench, but like not a lot of people were making that move anyway. I mean, starting him anyways. Josh Palmer, Christian Kirk. I wouldn't start Christian Kirk over any of these people. I would try to build up your running back core here. I'd really be trying to sell high on Raheem Mostert. Not because I don't think that the Dolphins are going to be good. I just think that we could see Devin Achon actually taking over that backfield, or not taking it over whatsoever. We really just don't have a full on idea of what's really going to be happening there with the running back core, and just bolstering this running back. That's all I can really say about this team. Your receiving core is fine. I would try to sell high on Christian Kirk, and your tight ends are fine as well. I do think you have too many tight ends, though. I would drop Gerald Everett, and I would pick up another defense you have the Cowboys defense, so you don't really even need to do that. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about this team. Mostert for Hall, what are your guys' thoughts? I feel like I still would prefer Mostert for the short term.
Yeah,
Short term, yeah.
For sure, but it's Mostert's 31 years old, so there's some sort of you always have to be considerate about his longevity / maybe they just decide to naturally cut his season short because he's getting up there. It's I do like him for the next few games, but I think Brees is probably a more valuable person to have on your team. I would say just value wise,
Yeah, the Mostert's injury history too is just always questionable, and you can never really count on him for a full season. So, long term, I would lean with this man right here. So,
yeah.
Dude, you're unleashed with those backgrounds, bro.
Oh my god. On top of this, Zach, you have to make sure you can't just put in the submit my team thing. You have to DM our guy at Jamario here, Jackson at Jamario Moon on Discord, and he'll tell you exactly how to get your team in this stream. But let's see. Trade Kittle and Wilson for Waller and Ridley. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
what was the first? Who were the first two?
Kittle and Wilson for Waller and Ridley.
Yeah, if you're getting Ridley and giving up Wilson, I would do that, I think.
Yeah, I'm on that side of the trade as well.
Damn, just a 70-yard not touchdown run, but in the freaking goal end zone right now. It's crazy for those guys. Let's see here. All right, overall, this team's fine. Just would encourage you to try to build up your running back room a little bit more. Your receivers are fine as well. There's some small moves to try to do some 2-for-1s, maybe even pivot off of Puka a little bit, just because there are some deficiencies in this team. But try to do some 2-for-1s, and you can turn this into a league winner. Target high upside pieces that are realistically low in terms of price right now. I'm not able to click to the next team. Oh, wait. No, I got to click out of it. So we were on slide 13 here. All right, now we have 23. Okay, perfect. So that's fine. So now we're on team 14 here. So we have Justin Fields, Aaron Jones, Jerome Ford. Unfortunately, you made the mistake of starting both Aaron Jones and Jahmyr Gibbs. It is painful, but it happens.
That's tough.
Let's see here. Devontae Adams, Jerry Jeudy, Travis Kelce. You got Breece Hall rocking the bench. Cut Dalvin Cook. Let's see. Who else do you have here? Cam Akers for upside if he becomes anything over there. Josh Downs on your bench. Try to build up your RB2 in theory here, but once Breece Hall's back, he's going to be more than fine. I don't know. What would you do for this team? This just seems like not a middle of the pack kind of spot, but it's I don't really know how to verbalize this one.
It seems high on the potential front. I mean, with Gibbs and Hall, I think at the beginning of the year, there were a lot of teams that looked similar to that thought that they were going to be winning their leagues just based off of the potential by the end of the season. And I mean, it's still possible, but they just haven't gotten the workload that a lot of us hoped going in. So, I mean, between those two and Ajon, I think if even just one of them becomes as good as it seems like they could be, your team's in a really good spot. It just relies on that.
Yeah. I would try to do some 2-for-1s here because you could easily like upgrade your flex spot here, and you can upgrade your RB2 spot. Like, I don't even know if, like, I do think Jerry Judy's going to come into form as well. Like, it's a fine team. It's got a lot of upside. Like Grant was saying, there's not really too much to say about it, but like you can definitely have some room for improvement for your flex and RB2. You had Chubb. I'm sorry about that, Brandon. Um, but like overall, this team does have a lot of upside, and we could see some very, very good boom weeks out of this respective team. Let's see. Did Colorado score or did they get stuffed? Oh, they scored, I think.
Let's go.
Did they score? America's team.
My mom's a Boulder alum.
Hey, that's lit.
Yeah.
So we have Jordan Love, Jameer Gibbs, Travis Etienne, CeeDee Lamb, Nico Collins. Nobody's going to be wanting to buy Gibbs right now, Jalen, unfortunately. Kenneth Walker, Josh Palmer, Harrison Butker, so a bit of a deeper league. You have Zay Flowers sitting on your bench, Calvin Austin, Jonathan Mingo, Tyjae Spears, Rashad White, Chuba Hubbard, and Jared Goff. Fortunately, you started Jordan Love. I feel like you should have realistically Kenneth Walker in a starting running back spot, and you should have Jameer Gibbs in a flex spot because that would make more sense for me, just from an eyeball standpoint. I try to improve your flexes. That's really the only spot that I would say to really improve this team. Just because like that's technically your weakest spot because I'm considering that's going to be like Gibbs or Palmer realistically here.
Rashad White too.
Yeah, Rashad White could be included in a trade package. Unfortunately, Jonathan Mingo hasn't really done anything yet of substance. Zay Flowers could be theoretically utilized in a trade package if you needed. I'd stash Keaton Mitchell on your IR right now because you have an open IR spot. Yeah, like just some 2-for-1s to build up the flexes. Overall, this is a solid team. Just like your running backs are strong, your receivers are pretty strong. Just your like flex spots are really the only things that actually need some form of help. Anything else you guys would advise?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind Rashad White as a flex, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. Bench could be a tiny bit deeper, I feel like, though. Like, I mean, there's some good plays being made, but it kind of feels like it's like the second to first person you want to grab in waivers every week is on their bench. You know, like the person who's left after all like the bus and waivers are picked.
Yeah. So would you do Rashad White over
Like
Palmer?
Calvin
Is the
Austin
question by Billy here?
This week,
Yeah, for this
potentially.
week. I feel a
I
little
mean, I
bit
think
safer.
Palmer's
with
in a really
Palmer.
good spot though.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of
Yeah.
it's a tough one. I think you'd be upset. You'd be more upset if Palmer has a great week than Rashad White on the bench. So I would start Palmer.
Agreed. All right. With that said, we'll move on to our next team here. We got Tua, James Cook, Kenneth Walker, solid RBs, great receiving core. Why is Bijan in the flex spot? But like,
Keeps him hungry.
I guess he's not doing it for him. Just like very, very strong looking team here overall. Is he in? No, he's out of bounds. Yeah, like this is just a very, very strong team, and you have a lot of great upside sitting on your bench. Like you have Josh Jacobs sitting on your bench. Like what? I would probably put him in over James Cook personally, but that's just me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm even trying to think. Like, go trade for Travis Kelce at this point. Like this is insane. Like you can really trade for Travis Kelce here. You have Garrett Wilson and Josh Jacobs sitting on your bench. Like this is a cracked team. We don't really even need to really review this. Like it's just a very good team. Like congratulations on winning your league. Patrick Mahomes, Jameer Gibbs, Rashad White, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Sam Laporta, Chris Godwin, DJ Moore, Patriots defense, Harrison Butker, Isaiah Pacheco, Patty Fry, Khalil Herbert. Okay, so we see the bench here. Let's see here. Running backs are my area of focus here. I wish I had that team, Busty Breaks. I wish I had that team too. Build up your running backs would be my first kind of note here. Your flexes are fine. But, like, I would try to build up your running backs, if anything. Like, that really seems like your only weak spot because it's like, this is your team, Barkley? Okay. Your receivers are cracked. Your tight end is fine. DJ Moore will come into form, I'd like to think. But I'm not fully sold on it. If
I
Justin
think Fields and Mahomes feels like a little bit overkill.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know when you drafted Fields, but I feel like in most leagues he was going in like the 5th round-ish, which seems like you probably drafted 2 quarterbacks a little soon there. But hopefully for your sake, Fields has a huge game this week, strings a couple together, and then you could move off of him and try to upgrade some of those running backs a little bit.
Oh, he picked Fields off of waivers.
Fair. Then yeah, just hold him and see what happens.
Yeah,
someone was really salty at Fields in that league.
Yeah, somebody hated Fields in that league. I would use Fields as like a trade piece for whoever's like realistically needs a quarterback or something, because then you can really utilize that in a package with one of your running backs here to improve these to another step forward. The flexes obviously could use a little bit of work for like more consistency, but like that's going to take a little bit of time before like can really dive into that. This is just gonna be like a little bit of waiting, but like overall it's a pretty solid team. The running backs need a tiny bit of work, but I guess the flexes would be the spot of focus. Maybe Vilo and Breece Hall.
I don't mind packaging. Like I think now for me is a good time to package up Pacheco with somebody and try to upgrade through that.
Yeah, I think that's fine as well. Overall, like pretty solid team in general. Just build up the running back room a little bit more and like do the 2-for-1s to get the flexes a little bit more upgraded. But like we haven't seen anything from Chris Godwin, unfortunately, to really kind of be that guy, which kind of sucks. Or like realistically, DJ Moore's kind of stayed somewhat consistent, but that would be our kind of guesstimation of help if that helps you, Barkley. Hopefully it helps. But moving on to the next team, we are moving on to Jalen Hurts, Bijan, Kyren. Wow. I'd sell high on Raheem Mostert while I can. You don't really need Jordan Love, to be honest with you. Like, you have Jalen Hurts. And you have Calvin Ridley on the bench? What?
Put Calvin Aaron Jones and Jonathan Taylor and Puka.
Yeah, like, you have a lot of pieces here that you can just, like, really use to improve your flex spot. Because once Jonathan Taylor's back, like, he's going to be much better than Kyren. I would even consider packaging Kyren and Raheem Mostert and, like, seeing what you can get for those two with your league mates.
Saquon.
Yeah, like, there's a lot of things, like, that you can do here. It's just really strong in general. Like, congratulations on winning your league. I don't know what else to say. Yeah, like, very, very strong team. Like, if anything, actually, maybe try to build up off of George Kittle if he has another big week. And, like, turning that into an even stronger, more consistent option. Like, you could basically try to get TJ Hawkinson, who I think is still a little bit underpriced under, like, consensus rankings. And that's something more consistent, which is nice. But overall, very, very solid team. Let's see here. We have Fields, Achon, Bijan Robinson, Justin Jefferson, Jalen Waddle, Evan Ingram, Jerry Jeudy. Like, decent. Breece will come into form.
How did you get Jefferson and Bijan?
Yeah, that's the thing that threw me through the loop. I was very confused.
Your league probably doesn't even look like it's crazy small either, based on who else you have on your team. You just did really well there. So, just on first glance, I mean, Judy is solid, but I think your Breece Hall taking over that running back room, if that happens, then your team is unreal. So you just gotta hope that happens, and you're in a really good spot there.
He traded Swift, Andrews, and Warren for Bijan and Ingram.
Swift, Andrews, and Warren? I think that's a great trade.
Yeah, very
well that done. Is great.
You got to join the Discord user. Link to that is in the bio, and you DM Jackson here at Jamario Moon, and he'll help you out accordingly. This is just a very solid team in general. Like, nothing really too much else to say about it. Like, if anything, like, sell high on Devin Achon potentially, and see like if you can get a higher, like, get Austin Eckler, and like have him like sit on your bench, because like that person's probably fiending and they're like, oh, Devin Achon's the next coming of God potentially. Like, yeah, it's just a very solid team. Nothing really else to say. Like, I like it. Just that's the only thing I would say to potentially take the next step forward. And I would put Daniel Jones over Justin Fields, but that's just me. Let's see here. Why is Desmond Ridder your starting quarterback? I'm assuming this is super flex, is what I'm seeing here.
Yeah.
No problem, Swag. Happy to
Aiden O'Connell.
Aiden O'Connell.
Shout out.
Honestly, I would put Aiden O'Connell in over Desmond Ridder this weekend. Like, drop Andy Dalton and put in.
Wait on that one. Wait on that one real quick. It might, if it happens, yes.
If it happens, then yes. But we need it to officially happen. Yeah, Cooper Kupp and Austin Eckler sitting on your bench here. Yeah, this is a solid team. I would, like, it's just going to take you a little bit of time to kind of get to the spot you need to be, in sense of, like, your team being fully healthy. But once it's healthy, like, this is going to be a very strong team. But I would try to prioritize building on this other quarterback you have here, because you need something else to build that up. Like,
Yo, Wells, so if you had to choose between starting Amari Cooper and Puka this week, who are you starting?
Puka.
Puka? You too, Grant?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you have him on your team for a reason, and this is the last week. He's really that guy, so you got to just throw him out there and trust it.
Like,
what about Amari and Tank Dell? These are just like, I've been getting a weird amount of like these Amari Cooper start sit comparisons in the Discord this week.
Probably go towards Amari Cooper over Tank Dell.
Yeah.
I just have concerns about, like, Tank Dell seems to be more of a deep ball kind of guy for the Texans right now. Whereas, like, Nico Collins is more in the short intermediate routes, which is like what I think is probably what's going to get hit a little bit more often.
Yeah.
Just because it's like the offensive line is just in shambles. And I do think TJ Watt is going to be great. We're not sure if we did your team, Brody Hull. We're about 20 teams in right now, or 19.
Brody, I don't know exactly where your team is on this, but it's definitely in this one. So if you look back through the video, once it's up on YouTube, you'll see what we said about your team.
Yeah, I think Nico Collins is a fine flex target. He's definitely still going to be able to get his. Not really worried about him too much.
He's got to start showing up to the family dinners.
Yeah, he's got to start showing up to the family dinners. I would. So this is your team. You're 0-3.5 PPR. Yeah, you need to build up this quarterback here. Desmond Ridder's not going to be getting it done for you.
You've also just gotten really unlucky with your two, like, A-side guys have been out most of the year, and Hall hasn't lived up to potential and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, you've just been unlucky. I think if you can find a way to win this week, and then you have Eckler and Kupp on the way back, I think this team could be crazy going into the playoffs if you can squeak your way in there.
Yeah. Like, there's a lot of upside in this team is, I guess, what we're trying to point out. But, like, your biggest weak point right now is Desmond Ridder.
Would you start Khalil Herbert over Desmond Ridder?
I would definitely consider it.
I think you, based on the OP, I think you probably could do that in theory, but I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a sketchy one, but
like, the thing is, like, Khalil Herbert generally could go off for like 15. How many teams?
Yeah, that game.
Go ahead.
No, I think that game, both running backs on both teams could have huge games.
Agreed.
Both tandems of running backs. So you could see Piran, Javonte, Herbert, Roschon. I think two of those four will have like high to mid-teen games tomorrow.
Totally.
It's just a matter of which one does it.
Yeah. Let's see, but I'm not sure how many execs we're doing. We're probably going to do around 30 would be my guess, or whatever this slideshow ends, one of the two. But overall, like, this is a fine team. It's just the quarterback's my only thing, and I would consider, switching, like, Khalil Herbert in for, like, this optional spot, putting Lamar Jackson as just your consistent starter, like. And, like, I would put Aiden O'Connell in if he actually is the starter, though. Lamar or Geno. Lamar, horrible matchup. I still prefer Lamar's rushing upside at the end of the day. Like, it's just better. But we'll see how it goes. Oh my God, are they about to get another tutty? Another tutty for the Buffs.
Let's go.
48-27 right now. But not
Hell
bad.
yeah.
I'd go with
Caleb of 6.
yeah. Well, I mean they got kicked the field goal still, but
The spread's 21, right?
something like that.
Yeah.
But let's see here. We got Brock Purdy, Bijan Robinson, Devin Achon, Devontae Adams, Devontae Smith, Mark Andrews, Josh Palmer, and Brett Maher. Jonathan Taylor sitting on your bench there. He'll come back to form. You got Cooper Kupp also sitting on your bench there, and you got riddled with injuries and players staying out. Let's see. Yeah, this team's
Kind of a
cracked once it's fully
Crazy
healthy.
team. Yeah, crazy team.
Wait, 12 man too? That's absurd.
Yeah, like this team's actually
is
insane.
stupid, yeah.
How'd you get Bijan, Cup, and Devontae in 12?
He probably just did a lot of
And Mark
tries.
Andrews.
And Devontae Smith. Yeah. I mean, once Cup comes back, and if you can get anything out of Jonathan Taylor, this team is crazy, because then you'll have, like, Achon and, I guess, Palmer on the bench or something. Both guys who could have crazy seasons the rest of the way. So
I would even
plenty of potential to move up and down. Is Purdy a guy that you really want to start at quarterback every week, Wells?
in that system at this point. Yeah, I don't see
Yeah.
why not. Like
Fair.
he's just that good. Like the only thing I can like potentially advise is maybe you like switch off Devontae Smith for something that's like super consistent. Even though like he's going to be like a very fantasy relevant player, like that's the only thing that I would consider is like potentially doing that. But even that's kind of like, like maybe go get a Monroe St. Brown, like somebody that you know is just going to have a ridiculous amount of targets. Oh, they got the 2-point conversion. Good for them, Colorado. Good for you. But yeah, this is just a cracked team, like in a 12-man. Like once everything's healthy, like I don't see a way you lose this league. I would be very, very surprised. And I go Purdy over Burrow. Let's see here. Moving on to the next one, we got Lamar Jackson, Tony P. We got Aaron Jones. I would go with. I'd probably still go towards Ford just because he's the lead back right now, and they have a very, very good defense. I love Achon, but I need to see another week of him like actually.
Yeah.
Let's see. Look up at the trades you made. What trades are we referring to here? Oh, let's see. He traded Josh Jacobs week 1 for Saquon. Then the next week traded Saquon for Devontae Adams. Then after Eckler got injured, you traded him right with Zay Rashad White and got Bijan and Kupp. Then traded Pittman and Garrett Wilson for Diggs. Then traded Diggs for Mark Andrews for Devontae Smith. Jesus,
Whoa.
that was a lot to process. I'm assuming it's
Wheeling
this
and dealing.
team.
Wait, he basically turned Josh Jacobs into like 5 players.
That's what it sounds like. Like Jesus Christ.
Well done.
Well done. That's all we can say. Like, I don't ever want to play in a league with you if you're able to pull that off.
Yeah.
Let's see. Lamar Jackson, Tony Pollard, starting at 0-3 though. You should easily be able to turn it around with that team. I'm not worried whatsoever. Let's see. Yeah, you should be winning every other game, Aiden. Lamar Jackson, Tony Pollard, Aaron Jones, Stephon Diggs, Brandon Ayuk, Logan Thomas. Big deficiency at tight end here. Devontae Smith, Alexander Madison, and yeah, you got some decent pieces. I would go Judy over Dell. Like it's a solid team. It's just gonna take like a little bit of. Oh, how did it go to the next one? What the hell? I go with Waller over Kittle this week, Owen, but yeah, the tight end's really the only spot that I'm kind of like on. In which case you can buy low on somebody like Waller. Well, the buying's still cheap realistically. Oh my God, they got I think that's the first pick of the season on Caleb Williams.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's lit.
that's crazy.
Plenty of guys on your bench too that can make that tight end upgrade happen too. So
Yeah, I feel like someone would actually like buy Romeo Doubs right now, like in a transfer.
Yeah, I would be selling Dobbs as well because once Watson's like really the full go guy, like he's gonna take over, I imagine.
Yeah.
And Jason, to get your team rated, you DM our guy Jackson here at Jamario Moon on our Discord. Link to that is in the bio, and it'll tell you exactly how to get it optimized accordingly. But moving on to the next team here, like this is a good team. You were one of the few who started David Montgomery, so congratulations to you. You've won your week more than likely.
Yeah, it's a dub.
Kirk Cousins, CMC, Monty, Flowers, Dell, Hawkinson, Terry. So the biggest deficiency in this respective team is like your receiver room, realistically. Like I love Tank. I've been on him. I've been on Zay. I love both of these guys, but Terry McLaurin just doesn't have the target share to really do it.
Yeah. Also, give me B-Rob over McLaurin this week.
Yeah, I'd rather the safety with that, honestly, as well. Like you could sell high on Achon, realistically. I do think he's going to become more relative as the season kind of progresses here. But like, you have some pieces to really improve this flex / wide receiver tier here, which is really all you need to do to really turn this team to another next level. I wouldn't really advise for trading Lamar Jackson. I really don't. But like, he's somebody you could theoretically move, or Kirk Cousins, depending upon whichever one you felt more comfortable moving in a trade. It's really.
I would sell high on Kirk after this week potentially.
Yeah. Like it's overall just a very strong team. Nothing really too much to say about it. But let's see here. I'm going with Fields over Stroud and Richardson. I know that's a hot take, but I really like Fields this week.
Dude, Kirk has been such a good play as like a backup quarterback this season. Like I feel like he was going in drafts at like the perfect place to pick him up as your backup, and he just produces there. You know, if you ever need a break from whoever you got first.
No facts. Like he's been an absolute.
He's been what QB3 this year? Yeah.
He's QB1 overall right now. I think. Like I'm not kidding. Like I'm pretty sure he's the QB1 overall, which is nuts. But moving on to the next team. Let's see here. I think that's
not Tua.
No, I'm pretty sure it's Kirko. We got 3 more teams here, and then I think we're done with this particular strain. And then if we weren't able to get to you in this one, we will get you on to the next one, which will be on probably Tuesday. I'll give these guys a break on Monday. Won't annoy them too much then. But we got, let's see, we were on that one. Now we're on to this one. I'd rather Justice Hill's upside rather than Dalvin Cook. I just think Dalvin Cook sucks. You got Joey B, Bijan Robinson, Kyron Williams, Devontae Adams, Keenan. Oh my God.
Awesome.
Yeah, very, very strong front, but your bench is questionable to a degree. It's
not great.
It's not.
But I mean, Kamara as an asset to have there is insane.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's
in how deep your league would appear to be, somewhere in 10 to 12 range.
Yeah.
Having Kamara and Atwell and Jalen Warren, who could even grow into a bigger role there, having all those guys be able to flip around in case Puka, his role diminishes with Cup back in the offense, I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Dude, trade Kamara and Tutu for like AJ Brown or something.
Yeah, like you can really turn this into another level forward. Like you really need somebody like Kyron Williams is great for the short term, but like if they decide to trade for Derrick Henry or Jonathan Taylor somehow, like Kyron's value just shoots out the window. So we want you to have a safety net in terms of the running back. So that's like, I would try to go get Austin Eckler. Like I really would try to get Austin Eckler. Like that'd be my number one target, as we continue to say here, because then like one that offers you a nice flex option in case like Kyron does just stay relevant this whole season, because like the usage is for him is insane. Like Puka's great, but like we know his value is going to take a step backwards once Cooper Kupp's in the lineup. Tutu Atwell, he's awesome, but like you just have a lot of pieces here that really you can utilize in a trade to really take a step forward. Like this is a very strong team, John. Very excited to see where it takes the next step forward. Joe Burrow, in theory, should come back into form once he's away from this calf injury. So curious to see how that plays for you. But overall, solid job here. Moving on to the next team here, we got Justin Herbert, Raheem Mostert, Derrick Henry. So 2 sell-high candidates, even though Derrick Henry's not really a sell-high candidate right now. Tyler Lockett, who I really out on. George Kittle, Ramondre Stevenson. So Ramondre could really go in the flex if needed. Jerome Ford, Tua. Yeah, this team needs a little bit of work. I'm not going to lie to you. You don't need Tua.
Trade Tua.
Yeah, like you don't need him at this point. You can trade out of Tua. I'd focus on building a better wide receiver too, because JSN is now, I wouldn't say fully removed from his wrist injury, but he's past the medical point of like that should be like up, thumbs up essentially for like wheels up. So I try to get a better wide receiver 2 here because you need that for longevity. And you can really try to trade these guys for like Austin Eckler, Saquon Barkley, those people that are really panicking on their running backs, which is a just better spot to be in overall. The flex,
Even like Ridley or someone I would like as well.
yeah, exactly. Like Dalvin Cook's also cuttable. But overall, like this is a fine team, but it definitely has some things that need work. Like the running backs, you can like try to trade to get even higher tiers for stuff that's going to be more consistent, which is what we believe that you are looking for. Is something that's going to be more consistent, which more consistent fantasy points leads to more winning weeks.
You also do have the pieces to, even though you might need a little work, you have the stuff to make that work possible. Like it's not like your bench is bad where you just couldn't make any trades or anything. There's a lot of potential for moves there.
Yeah. To go back to John's team for half a second here, he asked about. I think I went one too far. He asked if we would trade Puka. I don't mind trading Puka.
Yeah.
But it also depends on what I'm getting in return because I do think he's going to be fantasy relevant with Cooper Kupp because he's basically like he's playing the Robert Woods role, which finishes like the wide receiver 15 on average, but with like Cooper Kupp usage, which is nice. And when you have like a higher like this is the nice thing to know about like just football in general is like when you have a true talent come back. So like what JMO for example does for Amon or St. Brown's value, it actually increases it because you would think, oh, he's going to dilute his target share. No, he creates more separation for Amon on the field because that allows for a better deep threat for somebody like JMO being in the lineup. So, like, Cooper Kupp coming back creates actually a lot more opportunity for somebody like Puka, and I personally like using that.
And there's the same type correlation between like wide receivers and running backs and like tight ends and receivers, right?
Yeah.
As there's between receivers, yeah.
So, like, overall, that team's just going to get better. Damn, is Colorado about to score again? Or is he about to get sacked? Sacked a little. But overall, like, that's kind of how it go. You picked up Palmer over as Edwards. Yeah, that's fine. Let's see here. Sit Mike Evans this week. All depends over who, Jonathan Miller. Happy to see you back in here. Let's see here. You got Joe Burrow, Bijan, Kyron, CeeDee Lamb, Chris Olave, TJ Hawk, Tank Dell, Jake Elliott, New Orleans. JSN, who's going to pick it up. Jonathan Taylor sitting on your IR. Essentially, you got very, very solid team here. As we've consistently said here, like just try to build up this running back too here. Like that's really all you need to do. You can even build up your flex a little bit more, but this is just a very solid, consistent team. Like nothing really but positive things to say. I'd take a chance on Gabe Davis or Shaheed this week over Mike Evans, but that's just me. And I go Waddle over Dell. But what else do you guys have to say about this team?
I think it's super strong. I love the backup running back room behind Kyron and Bijan right now. I think that works really well. CD, great pick. Like for me, this look without Burrow kind of being in question right now, this seems like a championship squad to me.
Agreed. It's just like a very solid team. Like there's nothing really to say. You traded Shaheed and Gabe Davis for JT. I think that's a massive W for you. But this was our last team here, I think. Go ahead, Jackson.
I was going to say, and once DJ comes back, like you won't have to be kind of skating around that flex spot as much, which is nice too. So
yeah. And with all the running backs, you could throw any of those dudes in there and be fine.
Yeah, JT as well. You can change it up.
So I believe this was our last team here. Yep, this was the last team we have here. So we appreciate you guys for popping the stream. Jackson and Grant taking their time on their Saturday off to come hang out with me and talk about your guys' various fantasy football teams. Colorado with another score to bring it in within probably 14 here, so go Buffs. But appreciate all the likes, the gifts, and the follows here, guys. We will be back, well, I think either Monday or Tuesday, likely Tuesday, to have a longer conversation about all of this for you guys. But really appreciate you guys popping in here. And hanging out with us for a little bit of time. But until next time, see you guys. If you want to see your fantasy football team reviewed or just yell at us for a proper analysis or just like, whatchamacallit, I don't know, see exactly how it looked going back from a playback standpoint. This is going to be on YouTube for you guys. So make sure to check that out there on the PredictionStrike YouTube.
I will also be in and out of the Discord the next 2 hours or so if you guys need any advice today. Tomorrow, less so, but today for sure. So make sure to get your questions out.
I'll be in there all day tomorrow too, before game time and everything. So, and we have tons of fantasy experts besides Grant Wells and myself in there all the time helping people out. So,
Yeah.
if you have questions, they'll get answered in the Discord.
But overall,
Yeah.
appreciate you gents for popping in with me, talking some more fantasy football, and I will see the rest of you who are in here. I would go with Smith over Cooper, and I will talk with you guys, and I go Poop over Swift. But I'll see you guys on the next live streams. Make sure to pop in the Discord. Talk to you all later.